thanks for tuning in again. This is Dr. Muafi. I'm a PhD in applied linguistics and I've been teaching English for many years. Today's lesson is about a very important concept in English. That is tenses. English verb tenses. Well, it's maybe one of the most important lessons or concepts, in terms of, or under grammar. Because the verbs are very important, right, in most languages. Well, as you know, most languages fall, when we're talking about tenses, the verb tenses fall into three major categories. Because when we talk about different time periods, we either talk about the past time, like yesterday, the day before yesterday, last week, last month, right, or 2 years ago, or we talk about today, at the present moment, or we talk about future. This is one of the characteristics of all human languages. They contain something, an element that refers to a time period, okay? So in English, we have past tense, present tense, and future tense, okay? The three major categories that are available in all languages. But the, unique thing in English, is that, it's evenly distributed. What do I mean by this? I mean that you have 4 subcategories under past tense and subcategories, exactly the same thing. Very similar under the present one, and exactly 4, again, subcategories under future tense. And as you have noticed already, we have the simple one in all of them as the first one. Well, I try to make it very easy for you here in this session so that you can learn most of the things about English verb tenses in one session, okay? Well, I also gave you an example, but this example is not enough. You have to refer to many books and read many texts so that you can internalize and learn all of them. Okay? So simple, continuous, perfect, perfect continuous. It is repeated in all of these major categories, as you can see. All right? Well, let's focus on the first one, the first example that I gave. All right? In English, I try to use a very easy verb, which is a regular verb. Of course, if it is irregular, then you have to learn all the grammatical rules about, how it is spelled and pronounced, or how it is used in the first place. Well, a study, it takes, ed at the end. Of course, because of y changes to I, that's a matter of spelling. That's a rule in spelling. That's nothing to be concerned about. Anyway, so I studied English, for example, yesterday, right, or last year. Well, I studied English. But for the other examples, I didn't, give the complete form or complete sentence. I put 3 dots here. 3 dots there, meaning you have something at the beginning or at the end of the sentence. I just want you to focus on the verb structure, all right? How the tenses is applied to each one of these subcategories. Well, because we are talking about continuous situation in the past, we use was or where. Was or where. So I was studying English, for example. I was studying English when there was a knock on the door. Okay, this is a very classic example. But for the perfect one, all right, when do we use this, the perfect tense, the past perfect tense? When we have 2 verb tenses or 2 verbs, both of them happen in the past, but one of them happened earlier than the other one. That earlier action is expressed through perfect tense or past perfect tense. So I had studied English, for example, before doing something else, okay? I had studied. Well, we use had in the past perfect tense. Had plus PP form of the verb, okay? Here, we use only the PP form, the past form, not the PP form, sorry. The past form of the verb. Here, we use was plus verb plus ing in the continuous tense. But in the perfect one, had plus verb, of course, the PP form of the verb, the third form of the verb, not the past form. Like in the example I gave in the first subcategory, simple, past simple tense. Well, let's move on to the next subcategory, perfect continuous or perfect progressive, some people or some grammarians call it. We use had plus been plus verb plus ing. I had been studying. I had been studying. Well, obviously, it's something like, to make it very simple, to cut the story short for you, it's something like the combination of the second one and the third subcategory. All right? Something like that, okay? We know that there are some slight differences, of course, though, in all of these subcategories, but I don't want to go into details about them. Well, you'll be confused, and it's very complicated. So let's just make it as simple as possible here. For the present tense, we have, again, simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous, right? Just like the past tense. Well, we use the simple form or the basic form of the verb study. I study English. It means, well, at the present moment, okay? But if we want to focus on the continuity of my action, studying, we use the continuous tense, present continuous tense or present progressive tense. We say, I am studying English now, right now, at the moment, all right? Well, again, we have present perfect tense, but this present perfect tense means that we have done something up until now, okay? All right. Like I have studied. Obviously, if it is not I, which is the subject, we can also use has, like she has studied. She has studied. But I have studied, they have studied, we have studied English, okay? Well, and the fourth subcategory, perfect continuous or perfect progressive. I have been, or she has been, for example, the other example. I have been studying, have plus been plus study plus ing, okay? Well, this is a little bit different from the perfect tense. It means that there is a likelihood that this action, which is studying, goes into the future. All right, we have done it. We have started in the past, and it goes through the present, and it's likely to be continued in the future too. Well, now let's move on to the future tense. Future is very easy. Well, you just add will. Of course, we have 4 subcategories here, right? Like the above examples or major categories or tenses. Well, I will study English. I will. Will, you just add will. Will study. Here it was a study. Here we add will. Okay? And the basic form of the verb, the present tense. But together, that would be future tense. Will study. Okay? It's very simple. But the second one, continuous tense, you add be. Will be and verb plus ing. Studying. I will be studying. For example, for 2 hours tomorrow. Okay? And the third one, future perfect tense. Future perfect, we use will plus have. It's always have, not has, not had. Will have, like will be. Okay? Will have, and then the PB form of the verb studied. Will have studied. I will have studied. It means that we are going to complete studying by a time in the future, right? That is the scenario. So I will have studied. Okay? I will have studied, for example, by this time tomorrow. I will have studied English. All right? Of course, obviously, it doesn't make really much sense, but generally, it means something like that. And the last subcategory, perfect, continuous or perfect, future perfect, progressive. We use will plus have plus be plus verb plus ing. It's very rare in English, to be honest with you. You only see it in very old texts, not recent or modern texts, okay? Well, but anyway, this is a verb, a tense, which is available in English. I will have been studying English, all right? Thanks for watching again, and don't forget to like and subscribe.